page, Parsha is Re'eh. Is that correct?
Correct.
So we're not so far behind on the islands here. Re'eh means to see, but is it okay if I give a little bit of a talk now?
Whichever suits you, of course it is. We do our best to temple Israel. Not everyone agrees, to be flexible, to allow people to use their style and their ideas, and try to have diversity and respect for diversity. So you're spot on. Please, we'd love to hear your drosha now.
Okay.
I know you said to me, wow, this is a special Shabbat. I'm pleased to do it.
Yes, it is a very special Shabbat. So I'm just going to, as long as I found the page, I know, Re'eh, okay. So I've got the Plaut edition, which I brought all the way from
Fabulous.
South Africa. I've got all my books here with me, of course.
Yes.
Re'eh is the third discourse of Moses. So in this Plaut edition, it's 1255. So I'm just going to find that. But what is so special, certainly for me, is today is the day before Rosh Chodesh. Now, it often happens that the Shabbat is before Rosh Chodesh. It would normally mean traditionally that the Haftarah is changed, because tomorrow in Hebrew is Machar, and Chodesh means month. Tomorrow is the new month, Machar Chodesh, and there happens to be a Haftarah which has those very words, Machar Chodesh, tomorrow is the new month. And because that was my bar mitzvah many years ago, just 10 years ago, bar mitzvah, Shabbat Bereshit was Machar Chodesh, tomorrow is the new moon. And I remember, so the Haftarah talks about David and Jonathan. Vayomer lo Yehonatan Machar Chodesh, that's how it begins. And Jonathan said to David, tomorrow will be the new month. Remember, King Saul was chasing him, and he had to, there's a whole story of shooting the arrows. So it was quite a fascinating Haftarah to have. But it's not just any new month. What is the new month that's starting? It is Elul. And Elul is the month before Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah. So we know that Rosh Chodesh Elul is a precursor of Rosh Hashanah, and traditionally, and when we usher in the new moon, which we will do at the end of the Torah service, there is traditionally a chazan, a cantor, would sing a tune that relates to the festival that's coming up. So when you do, for example, Rosh Chodesh Adar, it's before Purim, you'd sing a very happy Purim tune. And the people in Shul will say, that's the cantor's subtle way of giving a hint that we've got to get ready for Purim. And the next one in Nisan is, of course, the month of Pesach, Passover. So it would be common for the cantor to sing a tune for Yechadashehu, may you bless the new moon, to Yechadashehu Agadosh Baruch Hu, which is the Pesach tune. But when it's Rosh Chodesh Elul and we're bringing in Rosh Hashanah, there's another tune, which I'm not going to spoil the surprise and sing it now. But you can imagine that it has more to do with Rosh Hashanah. And the idea isn't just, it's not just a little gimmick or a trick, but there's a very important purpose behind that. And that is that the worshippers in the synagogue will be minded to prepare for that festival. So if it's before Purim, it reminds us that Misha Nichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha, it's a happy and auspicious month. If it's before Passover, we'd better start getting ourselves and our homes ready for Pesach and start to clean and start preparing for a Seder. But if it's Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the high festivals, wow, we have to not get our homes ready or make merry, but we've got to start preparing. And the whole month of Elul there's some very beautiful ideas that the rabbis of old came up with. And they said, how do we know what the month of Elul is meant to be? And they said, well, if you look at the letters in Elul, Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed, Elul, those stand for different words. In the Song of Songs, those 4 letters are found in the verse, Ani ledodi, I am for my beloved, vidodili, and my beloved is for me. And they took that allegorically as a hint of I, meaning the Jewish people, are for my beloved, which is Hashem, God, and God is for me. So it's a period of closeness between the people and their creator. So this is a time when the king or the monarch, the queen, is available to their subjects, and we're able to come closer than ever before to God. Another part where Elul comes up is in Uva Letzion Goel Uleshavei Pesha, which is a redeemer shall come to Zion and those who turn from sin. And the words Aleph Lamed as the end of Goel Uleshavei. So it's 2 words joined to one, gives Elul. So they said, well, why would the month Elul be in that verse? And they said it's to teach us Geula, redemption, comes from those who turn away from sin. So it's a beautiful idea that the time of doing teshuvah in Elul is, the time of Elul is the time to do teshuvah. And a final thought before we go into the Torah reading is that, as Maimonides, the great medieval sage, taught us, that to do teshuvah doesn't simply mean arriving at the synagogue on Yom Kippur, saying Ashamnu Bagadnu, we have sinned, and beating your chest, and then going home and breaking the fast. What really is needed is a real cheshbon hanefesh, a real consideration of one's actions, thinking where we have gone wrong, and resolving in one's heart to not do it again. And also, most importantly, Yom Kippur is not a wipe the slate clean time whereby sins are just merely forgiven because we went to synagogue and asked for it. Most of the time we find that, and sometimes I don't like using the word sin, it sounds too Catholic in my view, but the word really for sin in Hebrew is chet, a chet, tet, and an aleph. And what it really means, chitzim, like in the Haftarah of Machar Chodesh, chitzim, it's like a matara is a target and chitzim are arrows. A sin, chet, it really means that someone has shot an arrow and not really hit the bullseye. You've kind of just fallen short of the required standard. You haven't quite measured up to the performance. And I'm sure you'll agree that's a very different impression on one's mind than a sin, which has a connotation of something very unholy, very dirty, very wrong, and it can make one feel quite unworthy. So if we can rather see where we have fallen short and that what are normally termed sins as areas where we need to improve, we will find that most of the time it's between humans, between man and man, man and woman, between our neighborly relations. That's where we need to make most of our effort. Sins between humankind and Hashem, Hashem is more forgiving often than humans. We need to really look into our hearts. I've often found that humans are far less forgiving than God would be, because Hashem would understand our foibles and that, but somehow people hold on to grudges. So let that be a message when we're ushering in the month of Elul. A whole month before Rosh Hashanah will be, so we'll be 4 weeks away from, on Monday, Sunday and Monday is Rosh Chodesh, and that is
Looks like Reva's disappeared. We normally end off with Adon Olam or something like that.
Okay, that's fine. I wanted to know, I'm sure Reva will be back and have something to say. In the meantime, I just wanted to say, you can actually see it's getting slightly lighter outside. So I might just take myself off for a one of those early morning swims that I don't often manage to get to that early. But thank you all for having me. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get up in time and manage, but thank goodness and thank Hashem, I have a quiet weekend ahead. We're going to admit Reva to the waiting room. She's back. Reva, are you back with us?
Still connecting.
Okay. If you can, in the meantime, if I can just find the page of Adon Olam, if you can.
65, I'll put it up.
Okay. Is Reva back with us?
Yes, I'm back on my cell phone. Sorry about that.
Okay, we're just waiting to conclude with Adon Olam, unless there's anything further you wanted to say, Reva. Okay. I think in the meantime,
each time you're with us, you give us so much more. And today, not only did we have another glimpse into your enviable, gorgeous lifestyle, but also you have increased our knowledge of Judaism. You give us so much insight into the actual practice of our religion. And to me, that is so, so important. I'm learning so much, and we all are from you, especially your explanation today and how you introduced the month of Elul. You and I decided that you would do that, and that's why you chose the Shabbat. So we didn't mention that last night. And everyone who was with us last night is here with you today. And I'm telling you now, I'm not going to let you go that easily. If you don't mind, if you could give us at least one early morning a month. Is that too much? Please.
Reva's putting me on the spot. Let's just say we'll try increase the frequency from what it has been up to now, and I will happily discuss it with you privately. But it's interesting that you mentioned that, Reva, because I didn't plan exactly what I was going to speak, but what I didn't tell you is a bunch of people on the island, a few Jewish people, get together on a Wednesday night via Zoom, because it started in lockdown, but it's still convenient for people, as you realize. And we just talk. There's a rabbi in London who gives a bit of a talk, but each of us volunteer to prepare something. And last week was my turn, and I volunteered to give a talk on Elul, so it was kind of fresh in my mind. But it's such a wonderful way to build Judaism from within our homes, particularly under lockdown, by giving, and the strength personally that I've derived and the encouragement just from our little fledgling community and the 5 or 6 people, and sometimes it's just 3 people on the Zoom, because, as I say, we don't have organized Judaism as strong as it would be on the mainland or in an established community. Every little thing we do counts. And I want to, if I may, I know it's gone on a long time and I've spoken so much, I want to end off with one.
You've got plenty of time. You do such a beautiful service. You just keep, you choose what to read so that we will in time and what to sing. It's beautiful. Carry on.
Okay, so thank you. So what I wanted to say was that we got to get, I'm going to just share a few, if I may, Jacob, just share my screen again. When we got together at my friend's, Michael, who's a New Yorker, there's, I'm going to show my screen. Over there, you can see a bunch of people getting together with yarmulkes on. That's a house called Blue Flag, and it used to belong to, it does belong to one of the old families in Bermuda. There were 40 big main families, they call them the 40 Thieves. and this is one of their homes that my Jewish friend has rented for about 9 months. You can see it's on the bay, and I decided to have what we called a tefillin wrap. So what we did is we all got together. You can see there are a couple of women as well, and we had orange juice. We had freshly baked bagels, lox,
Wow.
and this was some of the members of our community tucking in after we put on tefillin. Now, we didn't do an entire prayer service. We just did it for 10 minutes, just so that people could get together. And this is the view over Mangrove Beach. So, you know, it was really beautiful. You can see me there in the background without tefillin. And it caused such a lovely chavashaf. There's the group I wanted to show you. So you can see, yes, those that not everyone wore, not everyone chose. We took turns, but it was a very, very special day on a Sunday morning. And then people went off onto their, sorry, I just want to stop that. But people went on with their days. So it was a very special thing to do. And it's amazing. When we were singing the prayers, I turned around afterwards and said to them, do you know this is the first time that these words have ever been heard on this part of the island, or possibly anywhere in the island, that Jewish prayer, Jewish song has been lifted up? And maybe that will have a very Hasidic idea that this will have a positive influence on everyone around us, because we know that we have a responsibility from the Torah to be an Or LaGoyim, a light to the nations. And so that was just one aspect that I thought in little ways we're trying very hard to build up. And I'm very, very fortunate to have been, sent here to not only work as a lawyer, but also to, to help build Judaism on the island. Anyway, with that, thank you very much. I'm going to go to Adon Olam. I see Elaine is coming back in here. If you can, thank you. There we go. I'm just going to do the short one because I have really overstayed my time here.
No, you have not. We're well in time. We usually only conclude at 12, but with your excellent shortening of various parts, you've brought such the true essence of Judaism to us. And I must tell you, Warren, just before we conclude, that you sharing what you have now, just that laying of tefillin, it is amazing how even participating in a small part of our great religious heritage and bringing it to that island, in that gesture, to me, lies the entire Torah, where we reach out to each other in any way and relive our traditions, which include, as you said, being a light unto the nations, engaging with those around us and engaging with the political world around us and the real world around us. And that's what you're doing on that island. And I find it fascinating.
Well, that's right. Thank you. And you mustn't for 1 minute think that people here or people outside of South Africa are not concerned or involved with what's going on in South Africa. A lot of people believe that expats who live out of South Africa are say, oh, thank goodness we're not there anymore. No one I know has ever said that. God forbid. In fact, we redouble our efforts. You know, I'm from Durban, and the Durban community was especially hard hit in these latest times. And my own parents, who are, my father's on his deathbed at the moment, so it's very, very sad. But, you know, my mother ran out of vital supplies, and I wanted to share with you that she lives in a building that is quite heavily Muslim, and her Muslim neighbors were out at the pharmacy during the height of the unrest, when even Musgrave Centre around the corner was being looted. and they said to Mrs. Bank, they said, Mrs. Bank, can we get you anything for your husband? Do you need any supplies? And they brought my mother supplies, and they refused to take any money for it. They
Yeah,
said,
I'm sure.
thank you.
And Warren, I'm going to just send you my last newsletter, but Warren, this is exactly what I love about South Africa and what I love about our country. It is what you've just mentioned now is the result of that mayhem and riots, that the entire South Africa came together, remembering Mandela's constitution and promise and unity and diversity. So thank you so much. And you being where you are as well, I'll conclude with one thought and then I'll keep my, would it be possible? I know the times are very difficult for us to join you and your Jewish community there at all, be it a
Yes,
service, be it a haftalah, or be it something. We would love to meet them and we would love to be close to them. This is
that would be lovely. Yes, I think they would welcome that. And I think particularly with Temple Israel's fascinating history, I'm going to mention it. I think they would be very keen on the idea. Let me think about the right time and place, because right now we're preparing for the High Holy Days. So, and we're a 5-hour time difference, but I'm quite sure we can try find something that doesn't have either of us waking up at some unearthly hour, and we can do something jointly, especially with the wonders of technology. Reva, thank you for mentioning that. I think it's a beautiful idea. Thank you.
We can even do something but I'll discuss it with Jacob as well and my management team. And I won't talk about it more now, but I'll take it, as they say, offline with you. I'm very excited at the thought of our small community and your small community getting together and uniting through Judaism. Thank you so much. God bless you, Warren. We loved having you with us.
Thank you, Reva, and thank you to everyone who joined today. We're going to end with Adon Olam. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra li'et nasa b'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra v'acharei kichlot hakol Levado yimlach nora v'oya v'ove v'oyeh betifara v'oechad v'yein sheni le'amshilo le'achbira b'li reshit b'li tachlit V'lahoz v'hamisra v'hu eili v'chai goali v'tzor chavli v'yetzara v'onisi humanos li menat kosi b'yom mekra b'yado afkid ruchi Beit Ishan v'ya'ira v'yimruchi gaviyati Adonai li v'lo hira. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Warren. Wonderful seeing you and wonderful
You
being part
too,
of your
Sarona.
beautiful service. Always so special.
Thank you, and I wish your dad, my cousin, of course, well, and refuah shlema.
Thank you. And I'm sorry to hear about your dad, wishing him well.
Thank you, Sarona. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and we hope to see you again soon. I'll be in touch with you, Reva. Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks. It was a pleasure partaking of your service.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure, everyone. Thank you so much.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Just to remind everyone, there's no Havdalah service today, and there will be no Hebrew lessons on Tuesday. So, but you'll be hearing from us one way or the other, and we look forward to being with you next Shabbat. Thank you so much for joining Temple Israel, Hillbrow, Johannesburg, and having the honor of having Cantor Barrister Warren Bank with us this morning. My love to all of you.
And from
Shabbat
us to
shalom.
you. Thank you. Shabbat shalom, Yisrael.
Shabbat shalom.
Anyone who watched on Facebook or server.